I want to see her literally actually walking into this freezer.
Kenneka Jenkins' mother wants to see it to believe it, but now we know that will not happen. According to the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, there is no video of Kenneka Jenkins walking into a freezer. We do see Kenneka walking in this lower level kitchen in the hotel. She stumbles, turns the corner, and then she goes out of frame.
Guess what? We figured out who's been editing the videos for the city of Rosemont.
Look. You see that? So, a lot of things that was in these videos were edited out. All right? That's a fact.
Police told her that Kenneka staggered inside, laid down, and eventually died.
And they said, the police department said, freak accidents like that do happen.
So they're saying
and they said they didn't see her. And it's a camera sitting right in front of the cooler. They didn't see how she got in there.
So they
begging for help. The police department couldn't even help us. After they found my baby dead, they couldn't even help us. The bastards!
Got some questions about the Kendrick Johnson case.
I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Why not, sir?
Because our case is closed.
The family has some concerns about why some things were not taken into evidence. There was blood on the wall.
I'm not going to discuss the case with you.
And why is that?
Because I don't want to.
Then, less than a minute after he'd invited us in,
what did you not understand that I said? I'm through talking to you.
He ushered us out.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Of Kendrick's face.
As handsome as my son was, then you see him like that,
What did the Harrington Funeral Home do with Kendrick's organs? And why was he stuffed with old newspaper?
Well, the Johnsons were hoping that this video would give them some answers. There was even a hashtag on Twitter, "Give us the tapes." But it appears that this video is only providing more questions and very few answers. We've got a couple of clips from these hours of video we've watched. Let's look at the first one, and it shows Kendrick walking in from the right side of your screen there. He's behind another student, and as soon as he runs out, you see that student disappears, and a couple of other students appear. It's from one image to the next with no explanation of how those students got to that position or where the student at that red shirt went. Now, we blurred their faces because they're minors in this video and the next. Let's go to the next one. You can see Kendrick at the bottom right of the screen. He's walking at first, and then he runs out of the frame, and just like the first video, other students just appear. No explanation of how they got to that point. You don't see them walk in. We've not edited these videos to just kind of put one image next to the other. This is how we receive them from the sheriff's office today.
Researching this, and it was worse than I even thought. And then I saw UN briefings and just all of it. And the UN saying, oh, we can't do anything about it. You want to go down the rabbit hole, you go do it.
Newsweek, January the 9th, 2009. Organ trafficking was long considered a myth, but now mounting evidence suggests it is real and a growing problem even in America.
In America, at least 2,500 black people go missing every year. At least. Never to be found again, not killed enough, you just don't find them again. Why doesn't that number ever go down? How can you constantly have the same amount of people? Are you trying to say the same killers go out and murder the same amount of people every year? No. Somebody is taking black people off the street. There's been stories on this. Kidnapped by the government.
17-year-old black child found dead in the high school gym and stuck between some athletic equipment.
They did an autopsy and they buried him. His family, they weren't satisfied with the results because they still wanted to know what happened to their son. They had the body exhumed, found out that his organs were missing and his body was stuffed with newspapers, and people are still trying to find answers. The officials down there in Georgia, they act like they don't know what's going on.
The family of 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins is hoping police and officials at the hotel can provide answers about her death. They are far from satisfied with what they've been told so far.
I believe that someone in this hotel killed my child.
And don't make it seem like it's some type of prejudice, no race thing, because it's not. Because it could be your child. It could be a blue child. It could be a purple child. It doesn't matter.
We've been told through you, the media, there are 47 cameras and 36 hours of tape that they never looked for. They never checked. They never searched. They never did anything while a young 19-year-old disoriented girl is sitting in their freezer.
I'll let y'all know. I promise y'all I'll tell y'all the truth. But it never set right. That's why I asked for help. And I love y'all and I thank y'all. Peace.
There's videos of them killing people and taking their organs out while they're alive, showing them to them, and harvesting little kids.
Body parts. They've been selling body parts. That's old. That's not new. That's why black people don't like to go to hospitals. They go to get their toes clipped, their fingernails clipped, and they wake up and their foot's gone.
There's a case in the UK recently. A Somalian girl was brought over there for organ harvesting. They found out that they were going to harvest her organs and they stopped that. There was another case in Asian couples. They went over to Africa. They adopted a black girl. 2 weeks later, she was dead. So these cases of organ harvesting are just going on all over the world, and people are being real quiet about it.
Mr. Secretary, I watched President Bush deliver a moving speech at the United Nations in September 2003, in which he mentioned the crisis of the sex trade. The president called for the punishment of those involved in this horrible business. But at the very moment of that speech, DynCorp was exposed for having been involved in the buying and selling of young women and children. While all of this was going on, DynCorp kept the Pentagon contract to administer the smallpox and anthrax vaccines, and is now working on a plague vaccine through the Joint Vaccine Acquisition Program. Mr. Secretary, is it policy of the U.S. government to reward companies that traffic in women and little girls?
Absolutely not. The policy of the United States government is clear, unambiguous, and opposed to the activities that you described. The second question.
Well, how do you explain the fact that DynCorp and its successor companies have received and continue to receive government contracts?
I would have to go and find the facts, but there are laws and rules and regulations with respect to government contracts, and there are times that corporations do things they should not do, in which case they tend to be suspended for some period.
This company was never in the penalty box.
They had a report on CNN with Jean Bellerive, and he said specifically that there was organ harvesting and child kidnapping going on.
And we have already reports of a lot of trafficking, even of organ trafficking.
Of organ trafficking?
Yeah.
Now?
Now, already.
Of the victims of the earthquake?
Yeah. So,
do you know that for sure?
Yeah, I know that for sure, and it was discussed in Montreal during the conference.
Who has the contracts?
That would be a multitude of individuals.
Could you name some, please?
Well, I think off the top of my head, well, I would rather not. I'd rather provide that for the record.
That's not privileged information, is it?
I'm sure it's not.
Well,
I'm worth $50 million and I need a kidney. And you know, kidneys are pretty sensitive. You got to find somebody who really got the kidney that matches yours. You think I'm going to wait till somebody die for me to get one? If I don't get one soon, I'm gonna die. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay somebody to go research people. Okay, let's go look at all the black organ donors. Let's look at all the black people who got organ donor on their driver's license, which is why I'm not a friend of that. I say, if you wanna donate your organs, put it in your will. Say that if I die, this can go to my family, my relatives, my friends, or whomever. But when you put it on your license, I believe you make yourself a public target. And so what did they find? We got a guy in Los Angeles. He has the same blood type as you, same kidney type as you likely. He healthy though, he ain't likely to die no time soon. He don't know you, so he ain't gonna give you no organ for free. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he was in a car accident. We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he committed suicide. So the next thing you know, you coming out the gas station Boom, you get hit by a Mack truck. You dead, gone. You get taken to the funeral home. Your family come to the funeral. They don't know that before your body got laid to rest, a little hole was poked and they pulled your kidney out.
That's what happened in New Orleans. Remember when you saw those helicopters? They were picking up all them black babies and taking them up in a helicopter. And my husband and I sit down and said, we wouldn't have sent our son with them. I don't care who they was. We all died in the water together. We wouldn't have sent our baby up there. And they never got a bunch of those children back, as we all know.
We call it a new form of evil on the world. It's never been done by any government in the past, to take a large group of its own people and say, we're going to kill you without any kind of a trial, and we're going to sell your vital organ parts.
An individual from the United States or Canada, for example, could anticipate undergoing transplantation on a specified date.
It's a crime against humanity. It's abhorrent, and it needs to stop.
Human rights lawyer David Matas and former Secretary of State for Asia-Pacific David Kilgore started to investigate allegations of forced organ harvesting in China. They found at least 52 points of circumstantial evidence, including websites of Chinese hospitals offering matching organs in less than a week.
It's just not possible unless you have an unlimited source of organs. And these are people who are alive. We're talking about live donors. The actual transplant surgery itself was the form of execution. These were living people that were killed for their organs.
Makes you think of some grotesque restaurant where you go in and you pick your lobster in a tank. But these are human beings we're talking about.
We estimate that in the period between 2000 and 2005, there are 41,500 transplants which have no other explained source.
My dad was a dentist, also did oral surgery in some hospitals. And he wasn't a conspiracy theory type guy. He didn't really talk much trash about the government. He just talked about the way things were. And he said, son, don't sign the organ donor card. And he said, the word is from doctors and surgeons I know that a lot of hospitals, if you come in hurt, but easy to revive, not that hurt, they will let you die to get your organs because they could get hundreds of thousands of dollars then. Now it's about $500,000.
Hey, here's a really disturbing story. A dead woman woke up right before they were going to, obviously she wasn't dead, harvest her organs, and doctors gave her a sedative and just planned to continue removing her organs. It's just unbelievable. This happened a couple of years ago, but we're just now finding out about it because some of the documents have finally been released. Colleen Burns was taken to an emergency room at St. Joseph's Hospital Center, and she was suffering from a drug overdose, okay? A nurse told doctors she is recovering, she is alive, but doctors said, no, we're pronouncing her dead, called her family. Her family said, okay, you can go ahead and harvest her organs. We want the organs to go for something good. Obviously, she wasn't dead. There were several signs that pointed towards her being alive. A mandatory reflex test was performed on the undersides of her feet, and she did clench her toes. She appeared to be breathing without a respirator. Didn't stop doctors. Nurses told doctors that this was going on. Doctors said, give her this really powerful sedative. Now, I'm not a doctor, Lewis. I know most people watch this show. It probably seems to them like I'm a doctor. I don't blame people for thinking that, but I'm actually not a doctor. But if someone requires a sedative before you remove all of their internal organs, is that not an indication that the person's alive still?
Presumably a corpse does not need a sedative, yes.
Right.
It's in your lap right there. I just don't want to put my hands down. I'm really sorry. You're just really wrong. No. I've just seen way too many videos of problems. But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos